This is the Run Recap. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
I know. I'm in the hot sun. I just finished a workout,
Yeah,
and
you look like you're roasting.
then I'm sitting out here in the hot Seattle sun. So
Yeah, awesome.
it's nice though. It's nice to finally have some summer out here.
Yeah, I assume it's been cold for you too.
Yeah, it's dumb. We had like this streak of like really hot and great, and then all of a sudden it was just like cold again.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it was warm enough, but like when you go from hot to cloudy and like kind of cold, you're like, come on,
yeah.
winter already?
And then we're hitting 90s this weekend. What are you hitting?
I mean, not quite there, but we'll be in the 80s coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically starting today. It's supposed to be like summer going forward.
Nice.
Which is nice.
So
Yeah,
good.
finally. Finally,
I'm hitting.
man.
Christy and I are going to the island next week.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so that'll be great. We're just gonna go overnight out there.
Yeah, just you guys.
Yeah, it's our
Nice.
anniversary on Tuesday,
Oh, cool.
so we're gonna do that. And then, did I tell you we got a jet ski?
No.
So Christy's dad gave her his jet ski.
Oh, yeah, that one that we used a couple times out there.
Exactly.
That's
So now we have a
rad.
jet ski. Now we can go to the island. We don't have to. We were going to go anyway. We're going to paddle all the way out there.
Oh. And just like what, like backpack stuff or what?
Yeah, exactly. Throw a backpack on and start paddling.
Would you bring a tent?
Yeah. So our backpacks
Okay.
were set up because we backpacked enough that we can fit a
Okay.
tent, food, everything. We'd both have basically probably a 60-pound pack.
Do you feel comfortable getting across Priest without falling in
With
with that big
with
of
a backpack on? No,
Yeah.
no. But I was going to try.
Yeah, because I was thinking like getting that far across, because it's not really far, but like Priest is a big lake, and so it's choppy.
Yeah.
And like I think you could make it without falling. Like that wouldn't be that big a deal. But making it with a huge pack on is a different story.
I've seen waves on Priest bigger than waves I've surfed.
Well, does that speak to the waves on Priest or just the waves you surfed?
Both of them. It's both. They were very big for a lake, very small for an ocean.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm attempted on some pretty small waves, and that was probably embarrassing to try on.
Dude, we gotta go one of these days. We gotta, because last year I did that surfing trip out
Yeah.
by Forks, right?
Yep.
And you guys have, in my opinion, the best surfing beach to learn on, except that it's just freaking cold.
Yeah. Did you go to
But-
West Point? I mean, not West
We-
Point. What's it called? Westport.
I think
You
we were
didn't go
more
to the
north.
FBI training facility. You
No,
didn't go
that's
there?
Quantico. West Point, I think,
Oh.
is.
Well,
I
that's
know, there's some
Marines,
military.
right?
Man, we don't know. We don't know anything, do we? Like this
Nope,
is.
not at all.
We're gonna start a podcast later on the military and
Yes.
different branches and training, and yeah, we'll next week we're gonna start that one up. It's a good idea.
Well,
No, we were on like the northernmost part of Washington,
Yeah.
on the
Right,
coast
right.
there. So whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
it's something like that. It was exactly where. No, we were where in the movie. What's the movie that was over there? The vampire movie.
Oh, yeah. Twilight.
Twilight. Yeah, they went surfing. We went to that same beach.
Nice.
So anyway, I don't know what it's called now, but it was super cool. The cool thing about it is it's sand, not coral. So in Hawaii, when you surf, and when you're
Right.
new, you're surfing in pretty shallow water on little waves, and when you fall and hit the coral, because it's only waist deep water, it hurts
Yeah.
really bad.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah.
yeah, on these we were on waves a little bigger than that. So I mean, I think our biggest probably hit 3 feet or something. It's still teeny, but big enough to really ride. And then it was just a totally sandy bottom, so you could fall off, walk there. You don't have to paddle out. You can walk out on the sand and just stand next to your board in like waist to chest deep water and wait for the wave to come up. You see the wave starting to come, and then you just
Yeah.
jump on your board, start paddling a little bit, and it was just so effortless. It was a
Yeah.
blast. Yeah.
And my buddy Kevin, he used to go. Well, he bought a house in Oregon on some beach somewhere. But then he would always go out to all the surfing spots on the coast, and
Hmm.
I am not. It doesn't look appealing to surf in the cold water with a wetsuit.
Your feet would go numb.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It
if it
just
weren't
doesn't
for
look
that,
like
because
fun,
when
you
I went
know?
out there and did that, it was, I mean, it was 50 degrees out, because you know
Yeah,
how it gets on the coast over there, like it doesn't warm up.
exactly.
And so it's 50 degrees out in a wetsuit. I still was out there for 2 hours
Yeah,
and totally comfortable. Like my feet
yeah,
were cold, but the rest of me stayed warm enough that it wasn't really bad, but you would have gone numb in seconds probably.
yeah. And then like
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, anything that involves your feet, and when they're numb, even running actually, and it
Yeah.
is the most like not necessarily like painful, but like it just makes it not fun. Like you
Hmm.
feel like you have no control over anything. Even snowboarding where you're like locked in, and it's like it's not about the feel of the toes and every part of your foot as much as something like surfing is. It's still like it's like pins and needles. You're gonna go to turn, you're
Yeah.
like, I just can't feel anything. I feel so disconnected, you know?
Well, man, I'll feel like not even close to that, but to that point though, like if I'm snowboarding and my sock isn't right,
Yeah.
anything that disconnects you, sometimes you change
Oh,
bindings, right? And it's a
yeah.
disconnection now, just barely a disconnection from the perfect feel of the board. Or change you skateboarding is even worse, right? All of a sudden,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the concave is hitting a slightly different part of your toe, and now everything feels wrong and scary. I can't even imagine what you go through having a full on numb foot. I don't know how you do it at all.
I don't get that skateboarding as much as you do because you like lock in your feet and then don't move on the whole ride. Whereas
Well, you
I
ride a
should
lot
that's
more
just
and
a
you learn to like kick flip and stuff where you like gotta
yeah.
land and put your feet back on. I don't know what any of that business is at all. So I don't have
Yeah.
any relation to what you're doing.
Do you Elise has a lot of sock placement issues and wrinkles and stuff that she loses her mind about.
Mhm.
But one that gets me consistently is, do you get where the seam of your toe it goes on your cuticle of your big toe?
Not that specifically, but I do have I've stopped wearing certain socks because of something like that though.
It doesn't happen all the time, but there's like the toe cap, the seam that goes across the like your toes or whatever, and it'll
Right.
every now and then just sit right on the cuticle of my big toe and just like slightly rub, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like murder somebody. It's so like it kills me.
So we have now come all the way around to run. We started this conversation not even talking about running because we were just
I know.
talking, but
Yeah.
here we've made it around accidentally. Even we didn't even have a purpose because now what goes into is my toenails are horrible,
Right. Right.
and like they're all of them have the fungus runner issue thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because of that they get really thick and tall and stuff, and they're just disgusting. But that does make us have to be super picky about my socks because
Yeah.
if
That
a
makes sense.
sock is sitting near the end of where my toenail is, if there's any, not even like a lump, if there's just like, if the sock sits there slightly tight, it's the worst thing ever, and it kind of gets painful, like it's
I
really
bet.
bad. So
Yeah.
I have two different types of socks that I wear, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, I
Yeah.
found the ones that work. This is what works. One of them is the Adidas socks from Costco.
Yeah.
Those are my go-to cheap socks. And then I have my
There you
really nice
go.
running socks that I use
Yeah.
sometimes, and I don't vary off of those
Man.
because that
Yeah.
just works
When you
right.
find something that has to work, then you just like have to stick to that. I mean, and that I don't know
Hmm.
if that's a sign of old age or in particular or what old age, getting older, we'll say. But like when I find something I like, I just need to buy a ton of it. And because like
Hmm.
I still wear shirts that are like I mean like I have shirts like 12, 15 years old that I wear every now and then, but like shirts that I actually like and I like the look of and everything, like that are 6, 8 years old because I can't find like I bought a couple consciously because I know like I'm not gonna find these again. So I bought a couple and then I can't find anything similar to it anymore. And
Right.
so I'm just stuck with these shirts that are like I should probably not wear them anymore. But
Yeah.
they still look good enough that I'll take it, you know?
So I
Oh,
have
it
that
drives me
issue with
nuts.
jeans. So with
Yeah.
like, I had the jeans that I really like, and then and had this pair that fits exactly the way I want it to and everything. And then that jean with that model number still exists, but they changed something, and now that doesn't
Yeah.
work. And now I have no clue what I'm wearing anymore. So it's
Yeah.
been a couple of years of trying to figure out how to wear jeans again.
And it's frustrating because I'll spend a lot of money on something that fits well.
Right?
Like
Yeah, if it works right.
I'm not I don't love to spend a ton of money on clothes, but man, if it fits right, I'm willing to dish out cash for it. Uh, and yeah, the shirts, pants, it's always hard. I bought a pair of pants, 3 different colors of pants that like typically work well, and they the exact same size, they all fit different. You know, I'm like, come on, like really? I mean, they all fit good enough, so it's fine. But like, well, I'm like, okay, well, these are a little bit tighter, these a little bit looser. These I need to like wash like every other day so they tighten up. You know,
Right.
like,
Totally.
oh my gosh, like these are falling off me, but it drives me so nuts, man. Our ad break being over, let's get into some
Yeah.
real stuff because I don't have a ton of time today. Have you had any interesting runs
Well,
recently?
I'd love your feedback on my strategy here that I did. So,
Yeah,
I think we talked last time or the time before or something like that. So I've got I always have these, races that at least it gives me something to train for. And so I
yeah,
have the Mount Spokane 10K coming up. So it's going to have
right.
2,000 vertical, and it's actually 7 miles, not six. They just call it a 10K. But anyway, so I decided to train hills really hard. And
Yeah.
so what I did, rather than like finding a plan and following the plan and all that stuff, I was just gonna burn my legs out like crazy because I didn't have a long time to work on it. So basically I was gonna stop training hills with 10 days before the race.
Okay.
But up until that 10 day period, I was just gonna hammer hills like crazy all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, and luckily I live on the side of a very large hill, so there were tons of hills. So I did that like 3 days in a row, just hammered hills. And what I did was running up the hills, I had to be always going faster than a walking pace, no matter how steep it was. So I can't go that
Okay.
slow. It has to be faster than walking pace and faster than that if I can. And then sprint the downs
Okay.
and recover in the flats. So
Okay.
that's the plan. Because I need to pick up my leg speed for going down the hill fast, and I need to be able to run in times when I often would have to switch to walking for a trail run. The more of that I can change to something faster than a walk will be really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I did. And then, so last week did a ton and finally just got like inspired after, I don't know why I got inspired. I just got inspired randomly. And
Yeah.
so then like, it's like 8 o'clock at night, I decided, you know what? So I had one run that I was doing that hits a really steep hill that's not very, well, I mean, it's big, but it's not like super long. So I was hitting intervals on that. So one of my runs, I did that 3 times, then finished my 6 mile loop. Then the next one I went and hit on my 4 mile loop that runs straight up
Hmm.
5 mile. I went and hit that one twice. So twice what I usually do. Still pretty darn steep. Then I decided on this one, I was suddenly inspired. I'm like, I'm going to run all the hills.
Here we
So
go.
I went and hit the super steep thing, the shorter steep one, 3 times. Then ran over to my 4 mile loop, ran up that hill, ran back down, then continued over to my 6 mile loop, ran back up 5 mile again, and then came
Oh
around and
man.
then still ran a sub 6 minute mile down 5 mile. So still
Nice.
downhill, but
Of
still
course.
added speed at the end too. And
That's awesome.
anyway, so I put that all together and felt awesome. The next day I still ran a hard 3 miles with a pretty good hill in it. And so did that the next day after that. But I just did back to back um, back to back hard runs
Yeah.
is what I did. So
Okay.
anyway, so did that. So I did 3 days in a row actually of super hard hills, super hard pushing. And then I had done some the week before that and then backed way off. I'm still sore today, not horribly, but I
Hmm.
am still now 4 days later, still
Yeah.
struggling a little bit. But I've got until Saturday and I'm just going to do some light runs between now and then. And I think I had time to maybe actually build muscle and be able to do this better in a really short period of time. But I didn't do the whole like work hard and then recover, work hard. And I decided just work hard, work hard, work hard, and then recover in a chunk instead.
What?
So
How long is your recovery gonna be?
it'll end up being, I think it actually ends up being, yeah, it would be about 10 days total.
Okay. Yeah, it's
So
too much, but also
too much recovery.
maybe a little bit, but also
I mean, I'll
maybe
still
not.
run, but
Right. Right.
yeah, because I have till
Is
Saturday, so I'll still be doing
actually
some,
no.
some intervals and stuff between now and then. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna back way off the hills. I'm not gonna try and destroy myself on hills
Oh,
anymore.
I see. I see. So it's not you're not
Yeah,
going 10 days of nothing.
no,
You
no, no,
still
not
have.
at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I think that's fine actually. A 10 day what do you call that deceleration?
Hmm.
recovery plan is actually totally fine. I'm so when in talk of periodization and peaking at the right time and all this stuff is is great and all, but what I found for most people outside of athletes, professional, D1 to elite athletes, is
Hmm.
it just doesn't matter. Even if you're prepping for races, like you can volume of work, like so work a lot, work hard, push yourself hard, and then take rest when you feel like your body is tired,
Hmm.
is works almost every time. It's
And
not
I've
now if you
found,
good.
oh, I have found that my body's responded really good to back hard days, which is always in the
Mm-hmm.
training plans that never exists. But I can
Yeah,
do a hard day, I can push really hard this day, and the next day I still can get to do it again.
yeah,
And then I got to back off for a day or two usually, but stacking them doesn't seem to be a bad thing.
yeah,
Obviously you do have to find rest. You can't do it every single day,
right.
but I do kind of like condensing my hard days and then taking, what if I do 3 hard days and 4 light days? I'm going to do those
Yeah,
three all in a row.
yeah.
Doesn't seem to have a negative effect for me.
No, and I think technically, if we go textbook and if we go what the optimal for muscle recovery and energy recovery and resilience, if we go textbook of what that should be, yeah, that's probably not the right approach. But
Hmm.
we're talking like in a lab, in a controlled environment. That's where you aren't going to see that, or
Sure.
that's where you're going to see the flaws in that problem. The the average person, we're not going to run into issues with that. It's like
Hmm.
if as long as you're putting stress on the body in the way that stress needs to be on the body, your body will tell you when you need rest. Especially if you're
Right.
semi in tune with how your body functions. Like so if you take a fresh runner or a lifter or an exercise person who hasn't done much, they don't really know what signs to look for, and they will either overcompensate and push beyond what they should, or more often than not, they will get scared of the soreness and won't push to the degree they can, right? Or will take
Hmm.
too long of a recovery. Like, oh, I worked out with a run, whatever. I'm really sore. I'm going to take the next week off completely until
Right.
I feel no soreness, and then I'll start again. And then they get in this terrible cycle, right? So for someone like them, following a plan of like, here's a running progression to follow, it's like, great. That's perfect. For any amount of experienced runner, run hard, run fast, recover when your body says to recover,
Hmm.
and run slower for a while. Like
Yeah.
that's plenty. You don't need anything more complicated than that, in my opinion. So like you did, you're like, I'm gonna run hills. I'm just gonna run more hills.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all of the hills. Like I think it's
And it felt
fine.
like with the time frame that I had to work out for this, it felt nice to just condense it. Like
Yeah.
I like having more of a plan to follow if I'm training for the next 8 weeks for something. For an
Yeah.
8 week
Yeah.
thing, it's like, oh, it's too much back and forth. And, it's hard to
Yeah.
quantify if, oh, I'm having trouble recovering now. What the heck did I do and when you have a written out plan, it's
Yeah.
much easier to do that. But when I've had
Totally.
from the time I started working on this guy, I only had 4 weeks anyway, which means I only had
Yeah.
3 weeks of pushing. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then I think I forgot to train the first week of that. So then I was down to 2 weeks. So I've got okay, so I've got I basically can do 5 hard days. How much muscle can
Yeah.
I build in 5 days?
Right.
Five
Right.
hard, or how much muscle can I tear down in
Yeah.
5 hard working days that I can still recover
Yeah.
from? And
And
that's pretty much the way I handled it.
it's probably not even. I mean, it's probably not that much actual muscle breakdown and build. It's probably muscle condition. It's like
Hmm.
just training the muscle that this is what you're getting used to. It's like endurance training. Like when you endurance train, often you're not breaking down the muscles of your diaphragm or something like that, right? To build it
Right.
up. You're just like, hey, condition. This is what you need to get used to. How what this is going to happen more frequently. And I feel
Well,
like
and then that's
that's
what
more with
happened.
yeah,
Is exactly that. So this is what my experience had was so one week I did the steep hill repeats, and then
yeah,
I did the 4 mile loop with the steep hill, and I did that one twice, and it's a monster hill, and which put me at 800 vertical, in a 4
hmm,
mile. But it ended up being a 5 mile run because I doubled it up. But
yeah, yeah,
anyway, so a lot of vertical in a short period. Anyway, and then what I noticed after that was then when I went on my long version of hitting all of them, I just felt good. And there's no
Yeah.
way in a 1 week period I didn't get in better shape for
No.
sure. It was
No.
exactly that of like all of a sudden my lungs were like, oh yeah, no, we can do this. This is fine. We're already trained
Yeah.
for this. But the first time I ran that first steep set of hills, it's like, okay, I said I was gonna do three. I don't know that I got three in me. I don't know that this is really a thing, but I got through one. I'm like, okay, no, you just go do another one, go do another one. And they were all just rough. So
Yeah.
anyway, until then again, I got a couple of days of that, and all of a sudden it was like, oh no, it just got easier as time went on. And again,
Yeah.
there's no way I did not break down any muscles. I didn't build any muscles.
Yeah.
There's no way in that time frame anything like that happened. So,
Yeah, it's just conditioning. It's just your body. Our bodies are. It's the amazing thing that I've learned from training and learning all this stuff and experiencing all everything I've done is our bodies are so incredibly smart.
mhm,
They will adapt to whatever situation they need to adapt to if you give them the opportunity. If you
sure.
so like that's a perfect example of our, you're running, yeah, you're not breaking down and building up that much muscle. Yeah, a little bit because there's probably some soreness involved. And if there's soreness, then muscle got broken down. But
Mhm,
you're not going to boost your performance that dramatically in that short of time. So it's just your body conditioning to
sure.
to adapt. It's like, oh, I'm used to doing this. I've been shown that this is what happens. So I will allocate the right nutrients and resources in the right areas and I'll just push through it. It's the same thing as like if we fast, the first day of like a fast is really tough. And then the second day is like less tough. The third day, you're like, that's fine, I don't need food. It's
Right.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
so big deal. you know?
So that's a question I've always had that you probably know pretty well is once you if it's an activity you're doing all the time. And so like how often am I actually doing a breakdown muscle and rebuild muscle at this point? Is that happening very often or basically is that a cycle that always happens no matter what condition you're in? Or is that yeah, basically what's happening there when you're already in pretty good shape and then you're working on becoming faster and getting in better shape? Is it still a tear down rebuild thing that's happening, or is something else start to happen?
Well, I mean, it's obviously more complicated than just a tear down and rebuild because it's more than just muscular, because
Mm,
there's fascial tissue, there's ligaments, there's tendons, there's other connective tissue that involve in the body functioning fluidly and optimally and faster and slower. Um, in general, if you're sore, you broke down a muscle.
okay.
The
So that's what
muscle
that
fiber.
feeling is pretty
Oh,
much always that.
if you are now not exhausted, so some people have a hard time differentiating between a muscle just being tired and a muscle
Hmm.
actually being sore, right? Especially with like a running situation because you go on a hard run and like your body doesn't function for a couple of days and like you're sluggish and it's hard to walk upstairs, but it might be just energy use,
Sure.
not actual muscle fibers being torn. But if you're familiar with soreness, if people are, once a fiber is torn, it has to rebuild.
So it kind
And
of hurts
so,
to sit down right now. So I
yeah,
definitely broke down some muscles.
yeah, exactly. You had some. So then, the amount when a muscle fiber heals and reconnects, it will always connect stronger than before.
Okay.
Stronger doesn't mean okay. I'm going to go on a tangent. Stronger doesn't mean bigger. It doesn't
Hmm.
mean growth. It means do you think like tensile strength? Like its tension will be better, be stronger. You'll be able to push more. But you have to think of your muscle fibers and muscle spindles. There's so many fibers within the muscle that you're not breaking down like a hamstring.
Sure.
You're breaking down whatever tiny little fibers within the hamstring, within the glute or whatever. It's like it's not it's the growth that happens might not be even noticeable. But if you
Yeah.
got sore, it has to heal, which means it will grow.
Hmm.
And how
Hmm.
much fuel then it comes into how much fuel. So if you are in a like a caloric deficit and you're not prioritizing protein, then when you break it down, it'll rebuild and it'll be technically stronger, but maybe not very much.
Sure.
Right? It might just rebuild and kind of be around the tensile strength it was before, a little bit more, maybe not noticeable. If you're fueling it and giving it a lot of protein to work off of and a lot of fuel, and you're in a surplus, then it'll build in a bigger way and it'll
Okay.
grow more than if you didn't, right? So when it reconnects and heals, it's always stronger. It's up
Hmm.
to the nutrition part of it, how much stronger it's going to be. And then
Gotcha.
did you give it the adequate rest and that kind of thing.
And
That's the simple
specifically
version.
in a caloric deficit, it's not going to build back as strong. Did I hear that right?
No, I don't. I mean, so that's where when we get that specific, I don't know.
Hmm.
But my feeling is, if a muscle unless you're in a dramatic deficit. I mean, I'm talking like if you're a male, average male, and you're eating 1,000 calories a day, that is a dramatic deficit. And if you
Sure.
get your body, so there's so many other things are going to be going on with your body that you're going to get sore quicker. You're going to break down, and though you're probably getting like a muscle fiber to reconnect, and then another one's breaking down, and then, so it's not just. I think if one muscle fiber breaks down, gets torn, when it rebuilds, it will be stronger. But what's happening with the other fibers? You might be constantly breaking down because it has to work off of something.
Sure.
If that
Yep.
makes sense. So
Yeah, it does.
in general, though, I think if and I could be wrong, who knows?
Yeah.
We're talking very detailed here, but I think if a muscle fiber breaks down, it builds stronger. But there
Hmm.
are obviously a lot of other factors at play when you're getting sore.
Sure.
So you can take that to the bank.
I will.
Tell other people about it.
I'm gonna go cash that in.
You can cash that in.
I'm gonna cash that in. Okay, so are you still work on your sprinting?
Oh, dude. So I had to, not last week, week before. I decided. I don't think we talked about this because the last time we met up was with Mike Atkins and
Yep.
it didn't work. So you gotta redo that one soon.
We're
Connect
shooting
with him.
for early next week to redo that because he just finished
Perfect.
his 100-mile, and so we'll do that early next
Perfect.
week. We'll see
I
if
got
all
it.
three of us can line up. We'll see what we can do.
We'll see. I got thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But so 2 weeks ago, did I tell you about my updated sprint time that I did?
I believe so. Say it again though, because it's been a little bit.
So I ran. So I talked about running with the guy that came across that did the all comers meet and how it made me feel better because my computer's running fast and I can definitely run fast.
Right. Yeah.
I can run faster than that dude. So I don't think it was that day. I think the next time I went out for a workout, I'm like, I did the 400s. I tell you about the 400s.
Yes. Yep.
So
We talked about 400s.
End of that workout, I was able to do a spiked up self-timed and not like weird video timer
Right.
situation. I just hand on the watch, go, right?
Mhm.
Shut it down when I hit. So I did 100 self-timed with spikes, so not a block start, right? Real janky start. I got a 12.6.
Okay.
And so I'm very happy with that because obviously no competition, no block start, the inaccuracy of your self-timing situation. But I think that means I can get into the 11s.
Sure.
And if I can get into the 11s, this is where I start getting delusional. If I get into the 11s, why can't I get into the 10s?
Yeah. And I think
don't see any
Olympic
reason.
trials are probably right around the corner, and we've been watching those. And
I just missed it. I know. I could have. I had a shot.
no,
I
you
could
have 4
gone.
years to train now, actually. So you got
4 years
plenty
to
of
train.
time to get ready for this
Exactly.
now. Because if you've done this and this, I mean, how long have you been working on this? Well, it's been like 2 months or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Add 4 more years onto this, and you're gonna be way faster. Like at this
Exactly.
rate
So
of change,
fast.
because
yeah.
you're getting about a second faster per month.
Yeah.
So if we had
another year, jeez.
another year, you're setting world records.
Exactly. No, but I am very curious to see a true time. I was trying to hit an all comers meet before we went on our trip.
Yeah.
To get a real self time, but I wasn't able to. The timing didn't work out of it. Today's Tuesday, Sunday. I went to the track on Sunday, and I did a workout, and it was fine. It was decent. It was like I did six 150s. I was able to keep a consistent time on them. I did some starts or whatever, but as I was leaving, there's no one there, and then someone left a soccer ball, and for whoever doesn't know, like I used to play soccer a lot when I was little.
Yeah.
And did I ever tell you about my tryout for the team in Puyallup? How that went?
Oh, I remember just a little bit. Yeah,
So,
remind me.
so I'll recap it because this was funny to me. So when we moved to Puyallup, I went from playing general, you know, I don't know what you call it, but it's like your
Just rec,
average
just rec
team.
league.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rec. That's what I remember. Rec
Hmm.
league teams, and like I was good, but it wasn't like a really competitive team. So when we went to Puyallup, I had to actually try out to
Hmm.
get on the team. And when
Yeah.
I went, uh, they were is a unofficial or as a loose tryout because I think season already started. So and the team was all shooting on the goal, and I was nervous. I didn't know anybody, and they're like, "All right, like Mike, take a shot." And for some reason, I decided, like, I'm just gonna shoot with my left foot. I'm right-footed. I'm good with my left foot, but I'm not right. I'm not left-footed. So I'm like,
Right.
but why not? In a moment of pressure to show everyone what I can do, why not shoot with my left foot?
Yeah.
And so I take a shot, and it goes to the upper right corner in the box. Like you, I was good. I wasn't this good to where I could
Right.
like
All of a
on
sudden,
a
everyone's like,
dime
"Oh, you're a pro."
corner, no problem. Like it was a perfect shot. And the
Yeah.
coach me, he's like, "Are you left-footed?" I'm like, "No, I'm right-footed." He's like, "Kick with your right foot next time." I'm like, "Okay." So he's like, fluke, like total fluke.
Right.
And so I line up, kick with my right foot, same thing, same corner. Like just perfect. I'm so like, I was like, oh my god. It's like again, I was good. I wasn't that good where I could do it on command. Like a
You
great
gotta love it
moment.
when the pressure lines up in a good way like that, right? Every now and
Oh,
then, I've had a few things
so
like that
stoked.
also, where like, so because usually pressure tears you down, right? Like it's too much, and all
Yeah,
of a sudden, like, all of a sudden, I don't know how to play soccer. And
yeah,
instead, the pressure put it just perfect, right?
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's the
yeah.
best.
So I was at the track and I saw a ball. I'm like, I haven't kicked on a goal in 25 years. I've done like messing around with the ball, but I haven't really played soccer at all.
Right.
And it's like, let's see what I got. So I lined up, uh, right foot, I kick, and as soon as it goes, I'm like, oh, got it. Like, still got it. It's going right to the corner. No, just right off the post. Just it
Uh,
bounces away. And so I'm like, all right, let's try the left foot. Left foot, it like fumbles and I mean I went in the goal because there's toilet paper,
right.
but like it like went kind of down. I'm like, oh,
But a
okay,
goalie
well
would have walked
yeah.
up and picked it up, right?
It was like, oh, okay, you want this back?
Yeah, right.
But like the moment the first kick it went off, I'm like still got it. I'm like, nope, don't got it. Ooh, but anyway,
Well, that's
that
fun
was a
though.
fun moment of well, like waking up to reality when
Right.
I get a little delusional about things. Um, we are going to North Carolina in a few hours, actually, not a few hours
Oh,
later today, and so
yeah.
I'm gonna get to do some runs in some heat and humidity,
Yeah, you get
which
real heat
is
training.
always fun. Um,
Yeah.
oh, here's what I wanted to say. I failed at a run last week.
Okay.
Total fail. I haven't had a
You know,
run
it's a
beat
funny
me
thing
in a
because we do this
while.
podcast. We started this podcast because we just would send each other our runs and then talk about our runs. Then we started
Yeah,
doing the podcast and then we stopped talking about our runs. 'Cause we're like, I got to
I
save
know.
it for the podcast. I'm not going to show you
I
what I
know.
just did. And
I
so, and those we're
know.
really excited. So, but then it makes so then we forget about the runs we did for the because we're waiting to talk
I
about it on the
know.
podcast.
I need to make like a notebook of like things to remember to tell you because I always forget.
Or we should just still
So
just screenshot it like we used to and send it over, but just we don't talk about it. Like
yeah,
this
there we
happened.
go.
That's all.
Yeah. So I went for as I think it was last week, and yeah, I've been sleep deprived and not working out consistently. And we were in where were we last weekend? We were out of town or something. So anyway, I went for a run on like a Tuesday, and it was sunny out. It was a nice day. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go out and I need to hit the stairs because I need to do some explosive training. I need to
Oh,
go and do some, get some high knees going and get that speed work in on some stairs. And I went out, and you know how we start a run and it feels rough. It feels hard. Everything hurts, but you're like, it's just gonna take longer to warm up. Like so you've had
sure.
those runs where like it takes a
Oh yeah.
mile. It takes a
Yeah.
whole mile before you're like, oh, okay, I'm settling into my stride. Like
And sometimes you
and
suddenly
like
feel awesome. Like it can go from the
right.
worst
And
to
exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
And And my intention of the first part of the run was not fast. Like, it's sunny out. I just want to be in the sun. I need to get to
Sure.
the stairs. I need to get to the
Hmm.
stairs so I can do my workout there, and then I'll run back, and we'll see what I do when I run back. And I'm going, and it's just everything hurts, and it's hard, and it just stays hard and doesn't get better and almost
Yeah.
gets worse. And I get half a mile in, and I'm like, I'm not doing stairs. I'm like just
Uh,
written off, like, nope, nope, I'm gonna be
yeah.
in the sun, and that's all I'm doing. And so like 3 miles, no big deal, just and like I wasn't worried about it, like I wasn't
Sure.
stressed about giving that part of the run. I'm like, I want to be outside. It's a nice day, get a little bit of the tan, enjoy the weather. And I hit my half a mile mark, and if I take the right way, I had this like little kind of forced walk around where I kind of have to take a break if I go a certain direction. And so I was like walking down these stairs, and 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 it was hard, and I was enjoying the rest. I'm like, okay, but
Hmm.
rest, keep going. I made it a mile 1.8, and I just
Uh-huh.
stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't have any willpower to deal with how difficult this is today. Like,
Sure.
just nothing. Like, I could not force myself to continue. I did. I walked like a tenth of a mile, and then I kept running and finished off. But man, I got back. I'm like, oh, that run won. Like, I
Yeah.
did not. I got fully defeated today on this run. It was
I've had harder
awful.
failures like that as I get older than ever. Although,
Man.
okay, how was your sleep though?
Oh, I mean, my sleep is terrible. I've been getting on average past 2 weeks like a total of 3 hours.
Right. Mine
Maybe
directly
four
correlates
sometimes.
every
Yeah.
time because it's obviously you're fit enough to run that. There's nothing wrong with your
Right.
muscles to do that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's the well also we're not recovering enough. We're not sleeping enough for sure.
No,
But
definitely
yeah,
not.
but also just the willpower to push through or even to enjoy the pain, because like
Yeah.
sometimes on a good run you're actually enjoying the pain. You're having like, yeah, I'm pushing, this is hard, but I'm really
Yeah.
having fun pushing my body because I have this extra bandwidth to tap into because I
Yeah.
am rested. I am that. And it's fun
Yeah.
to like, let's
Yeah.
see if we can, let's do this. And I think weightlifting, you feel it even more so, right? When you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pushing through something is actually the fun part. But
Yeah.
when you're tired,
Exactly.
but if you haven't slept enough, it's just like, I don't care. Like, it's
No, I
just
don't care.
why. And this is, did I text you about it yeah, I think I texted you. But, the other day yeah, because you sent me something about track. I don't remember what you said. What'd you say? You got to a track and you missed something. You forgot to bring shoes or something like that.
Oh, I was trying new shoes. I was trying new wide
Oh
toe
yeah,
box shoes,
that's
and
right.
I thought they were gonna be good. I got to the track, and I took like 5 steps in like a jog. I'm like, nope, took them off, and I went home, changed my shoes, and went back to the track. I got so frustrated.
That's right. Yeah, you got your new shoes, you get out there, so excited, and all of a sudden just
Yeah.
does not work. So then I sent you my same thing as oh crap, now I don't remember what I said. Um oh yeah, it's that is like so saying that we had a garage sale this weekend, so we were up late trying to get everything ready and everything. So I slept like
Yeah.
5 hours or whatever. But then I just sitting outside in the garage sale and like, okay, I'm antsy as can be. And
Oh
here
yeah.
my body needs a nap, my head needs a run.
Yes.
And
Yes,
like
that's what you sent me.
what do I do now? Because if I take a nap, it's going to screw with my head, right?
Yep.
Because I don't nap well. If I take naps, I wake up grumpy. It ruins my
Yeah.
day. So if I take a nap, my body's going to do better, or I'm going to have to sleep over the next 3 days. I'm going to have to recover from sleep deprivation, is what it takes me
Yeah.
anymore to get back to
Right.
normal. So I can just take a nap and fix that thing. But then my head's going to be screwed up. But I could go for a run to fix my head. But this run is going to go horribly because I slept five
Yeah.
hours last night. And I already know,
Yeah.
like, well, then I can't run either. My body hits. So yeah, it's like, kind of same idea. It's like, yeah,
It's the toughest conundrum. Well, and the problem is like I think a lot of people might give you themselves the out. Like in that situation where my run failed, I was like sleep deprived. I think I actually worked out right before. I don't remember, but I think I like did some weights before. I hadn't eaten. That's my habit. I eat first thing in the morning. Well, not first thing. I eat in the morning with Lockwood, and then I don't eat much until after my workout. So I eat before
sure.
workout. It's like I'm more or less fasted, right? It's not truly fasted,
Right.
but basically fasted. It's like, of course, I worked out, and I go for a run, sleep deprived with no food. Of course, it's going to be hard, but
Yeah.
I don't let that's not an excuse to me because I've actually done that successfully so many times and had good run times.
Sure.
like, no, I'm just, because I'm pushing through it. They're like, yes, those are good excuses and they technically are valid, but no, that's not what happened. The run beat
Yeah.
me and I chose to stop. I chose to like, just, nope, that's it. I'm done.
Well, and on top of that, I guess I've given myself the out now, though, of allowing myself to choose the out. Because it's
Well,
like,
and yeah, and that's what actually happened,
like
right?
I could try and push this and just be so miserable and stumble through the rest of this thing, not actually, or I could like, maybe I turn this into a walk and I enjoy a walk. Maybe I needed a
Yeah.
walk today. Maybe that's what's
Yeah.
really is happening here. It's not like, okay, so there's one thing to just be disciplined and be like, I'm just going to push and push and push. And there are days for pushing. And then there's other days where like, my objective was to go for like a long, relaxed run anyway
Yeah.
or whatever. This was the objective. Okay, well, if that run changes into a nice stroll, I still got outside, I still moved, it's
Yeah.
beautiful out. That's okay too. If my body, everything my body's saying like, hey, your original plan here, you gotta tweak it. We're
Yeah.
just not up for this. And
Right.
that's okay, especially at, where we're not doing this for a living,
Yeah,
so you can
exactly.
so like,
Exactly.
okay, what's actually healthy for me today? What's healthy for me today might be now this turns into a walk in the woods. Don't beat yourself up over it. Get over it. Sleep up a couple days and you'll do much better.
Yeah. Because when
But
you are doing it for a living, as I more or less did for a while, you don't get the excuses. You get
right.
unless you're literally have the flu, you get this is the workout on these days, and this is the exact workout, and you do the exact workout, and
And
you're
sometimes with the flu.
sometimes with the flu.
Right.
I fortunately never had to do it with a flu. I definitely did it sick, but like, yeah, you just
Yeah.
like, this is the way it goes. And then
Hmm.
when the season is over, I will try to recover for a short period
Right.
before it starts again. You know?
Well, and how
And
long was your sports season?
well, in high school, they only do outdoor, but pole vaulting is so technical that it was all year. I wouldn't
Mm.
technically pole vault with a pole from September to uh, end of October.
Right.
So 2 months.
Okay.
But in college, those 2 months were preseason conditioning,
Hmm.
and then the indoor season starts in December, and so you're going. So there's no break every year, you know.
I was just thinking about how, especially for like high school sports, where you're not allowed to train with your coach outside of this
Right.
this
Yeah.
specific window. And so obviously,
Yep.
if you wanted to be good, we all still trained year round,
Yeah.
and you'd have some of the other guys on the team would post workout ideas basically so that we could stay in
Yeah.
compliance with that stuff. But if you really did what high schools ask you to do, the cross country season is only like 6 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
How on earth does anyone get in shape
Yeah.
and race at a high
Yeah.
level when you only actually have 6 weeks of training and racing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like,
It's impossible.
maybe it was 8 weeks or something, but it's not enough to
Yeah.
actually, somehow we had vast improvement in that time.
Yeah.
But that maybe just because I was 15 years old, right? So you just could,
Yeah.
but it's such a
There
short
definitely
time
is that.
that,
That's the same thing. That's the same thing for pole vaulting, because like you take this highly technical sport, and to be like kind of competitive, you have a track season that's 2.5 months.
yeah,
And you're not going to learn all of that. So the way we got
right?
around it in high school is we had a club that, I mean, it was a very cheap, easy access club that every vaulter in the Spokane area went to, that all of the coaches participated in. So
Right.
you couldn't
You're
be
not
coached
working with
by
your coach.
your coach, but
Yep.
you were, and actually it made it so the community was great, and you got all the other coaches to help out. For someone
Oh,
like
they should
me,
do that. Wouldn't that be cool if they did that with running?
it would make
Totally
it
could.
so much less competitive and ego driven, and everyone would be so much more camaraderie to it.
Mhm.
And you get the difference of perspectives, because like from my situation, I had a fluctuation of coaches all 4 years, and so I got to work with who ended up being my college coach. I also got to work with the Meade coach, and then the Shadle coach, and the U Village University coach.
Yeah.
So I got this wealth of knowledge during the off season, and I could then implement it during, if my coach, whoever my coach was in
Right.
during the season, right? Yeah, it was such a great setup. I don't know if they still do it or not, but it was, it's a lot of work for the coaches, I think. I
Totally.
think that's
Yeah.
why it doesn't always hold up.
Well, in like I was listening to, I think it was on, is the Mind Pump guys were talking about it like a year ago or 2 years ago or
Okay.
something like that. Anyway, they were talking about how it would be, how we try even on the college level, but on the high school level, it's like we're trying to peak to get your scholarship. Then we're trying to
Mm,
peak to get into the Olympics or whatever. You know what I mean? But you
yeah,
have these
yeah,
short windows where we're like, okay, we have, in high school, usually 3 years that we're trying to
hmm
make this person the fast they possibly could be for their whole life so they can
yeah,
get their college scholarship, right? And then
yeah,
you get into college and same thing. We only have 4 years to
yeah.
full on peak. And if we're talking about complete elite level, they were saying like it'd be nice to spread that out. Why are we trying to peak?
Oh,
What if we tried to peak in 7 years instead, where that
dude.
starts in high school, but we're not aiming for these premature peaks and even trying to peak every single year, right? Okay, now it's the
Yeah,
track season. We're gonna be the fastest that your body can possibly be right now. Then we're gonna
yeah.
back off and we're gonna do it again next year. And instead, what they were saying is like we would get way better overall responses if we spent 7 years aiming
Yep.
towards what is the maximum your body could actually do. And of
Or
course, it
even,
just
yeah.
doesn't work in our system that way because how do you get your
Oh,
scholarship and all that stuff? But
yeah.
um, anyway, but that was their point of like these short spurts are actually hurting us long term as far as finding out what the human body can actually do.
It's completely true because not only do you have a the physical aspect you have to contend with, and like spreading that out would be so much more advantageous, but you also have the mental and emotional maturity for it. So like
Right. Hmm.
for me, I physically I was I mean, I think I could have physically peaked for my sport, for that specific sport, at like somewhere between 27 and 33
Yeah. And I
is
honestly, I'd say the
where
same.
my peak could have been,
I'd say same thing
as
for
far as
me. Yeah.
strength, speed, everything, and then maturity level too.
Hmm.
Because like in college, I mean, and I was a little bit unique in the sense that I didn't care, but like I wasn't focused on it. I was focused as much as I had to be to maintain my scholarship, but like I had
Well, and then that
enough of my
hits.
mind in other areas that I wasn't I wasn't putting everything into it. I wasn't gearing, which is so, man, looking back, it was so dumb. I don't regret anything, but
Sure.
it was so dumb to not be in it more because my timeline was perfect for the trials. My senior
Right.
year was leading up to the Olympic trials. Like it was
Hmm.
timed perfectly if I wanted it to be that way. And
Right.
but that's not where my priorities were. But then looking back, so I was at 30 years old. I was like contemplating getting back into pole vaulting a little bit. So I'm gonna try, for maybe serious, maybe for fun. Not wasn't sure. I'm like, let's go find a club over here and go for a couple weeks, just feel it out. And I was able to fix habits that I
Sure.
always had after 3 days of jumping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I took a couple of videos. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing I used to always do. Like I'm more aware of it. I took time off, fix it, done. Now
Right.
that little technique part that I always struggled with is now gone, and
Hmm.
I could have continued. So like, yeah, the maturity of able to one handle competition, handle training better, handle recovery better. Like
Yeah.
it would be so much better. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Extend it or create gaps or something. Man, I don't know.
Right.
I feel like college is gonna go away anyway, so maybe there's gonna be uh, a better avenue for athletes in the
Yeah,
future.
I do think sports outside of college will probably be a very good thing for athletes in general, is to
Yeah, yeah,
separate those things, even for high school for that matter. I mean, it's great for high school camaraderie and everything, and you get to go
yeah.
out and do that, but it's not the most efficient way in order to make good athletes necessarily. And
No, not at
oftentimes we
all.
want to specialize younger. I mean, I knew by 14 years old that distance running is really the only place I'm going to thrive and stand out. I can do these other
Yeah.
sports at a competent level, but I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
stand out. I'm going to do okay
Right.
and I'm going to have fun. But I already knew that. It's like, okay, well, this is the avenue I should go. And so why not spend year round doing it? Why am I wrestling
Yeah.
in the winter? Like, yeah, it was
Right.
something to do and
Yeah.
stay in shape and I enjoyed it to a degree and everything. But kind of because there was nothing else to do in the winter, I had to do sports of some kind because
Yeah.
just what I needed. And
Yeah.
but wouldn't it have been better just to no, I should just be working on my working on my 800 meter to 2 mile time year
Exactly.
round is
Yeah.
what I should be doing. That's
Yeah.
what that is going to fit in the flow of what I
especially
already know I can do.
especially when when you know
Yeah.
it's what you want to do, then why waste your time with other things?
Yeah, it was very
Um,
obvious already. Everything else was basically a waste of time anyway. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna be pretty darn good on JV, but I'm not even
yeah,
gonna,
right,
I'm
right,
I'm a second or third string guy on all these other sports, and no matter
yeah,
how hard, I might work real hard, and I might become a starter at something. I'm still not gonna be good
yeah,
at it. I'm gonna be
yeah.
pretty good, but I'm not gonna stand
Well,
out.
and then the other aspect is if you're not enjoying it, if you're putting all that work, like if you're not a Rudy type, where it's like, yeah, you're
Right.
the bottom of the barrel, but you love it so much that it's worth the grind and the
Yeah.
effort that it pays off. Like if you're not that personality, then like, well, yeah, if you're
Yeah.
okay and you don't enjoy it that much, then stop. Do
Yeah,
something
football. I
else.
found out pretty quickly that, I really
Yeah.
like putting on the uniform of football, and every now and then running with the ball was pretty fun. I don't think I
Yeah.
liked much of anything else, and then running with the ball in a game only happened like, geez, twice or something.
Of
Like
course. Yeah.
it's not like that really happened. And oftentimes I was playing in a position that I didn't even enjoy at all, and
Right. Yeah.
so that was that. Wrestling was really good for me mentally to learn to be able to turn on and off aggression, because I'm
Yeah.
not a very aggressive person naturally at all. And so
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn how to tap into it and turn on when I need to, that was great. And I think served me other places, but that was that was 1 year of that. Totally did
Yeah.
that. And then I had a second year that was pretty successful again as, just below varsity, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
was a great, not quite varsity guy. So,
Yeah.
but that's how so many of those things were. And yeah, but really, I mean, I had always knew that no, distance running was what I'm
Yeah.
designed for. That was the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to have that knowledge earlier on, and then you can just really lean into it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, hey, I gotta get going.
Me
Um,
too.
but we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good. Have a good trip.
All right. Later.
All right. See ya.